My name is Laksh. I'm one of the developers who worked on the Bernie PB project, which is now called Grassroots PB. So if you don't remember Bernie PB, it was a website that focused on gamifying phone banking for Bernie Sanders for all of the primaries and caucuses that almost all of the primaries and caucuses that happened. And we had almost 16,000 users sign up, and they made 2.3 million calls just through our website, just a small fraction of all the calls that were made. And it had like a live call map on the front page and like all these kinds of features that were intended to encourage calling for Bernie Sanders. So we've transitioned a lot of that to our new website, which is called grassrootspb.com. And again, the goal is very similar. We want to create a community experience around phone banking for progressive candidates. We want people to be encouraged about, calling through ranks, achievements, and stuff like that. And we want them to also, like when you're phone banking, there's a lot of slack time between calls, and like we put that live call map on our front page partly to keep people like interested while they're still making calls. And Of course, our biggest goal is to get people elected by directing the energy of the entire Bernie cult team, which is really a very like motivated and enthusiastic group of people towards the campaigns of down ballot progressive candidates. So that's the difference between Bernie PB and Grassroots PB, is that we support people running for House of Representatives, Senate, and like potentially more state offices if they can give us the calling ability. So our stack, just to give a description, is we use Heroku and AWS for our services. We use Django for our API and web serving. Go Django. We use Postgres for our database. Our front end is fairly simple. I think that's one thing I'd like for us to work on more. Is it basically uses jQuery and Django templates and CSS. And we have a Celery worker separately that handles all the asynchronous tasks, which is how we were able to handle like I think at our peak we had like thousands of requests per minute being made by all the people calling, and we were still able to stay up at a fairly low cost. The key behind all of the website is there's an extension that conveys basic info about the call and the candidates to the server, and that's how we basically make it all work. And so we don't actually write the calling software. We just plug into like Livebox or what other candidates are using. We have a lot of features that are planned. We had a call recently where we talked about all the things we'd like to see in some kind of gamification platform like this. One thing was putting callers into leagues so that we encourage them to call at like different tiers. So there's like a lower league for people who are starting off, and you can get promoted into leagues. So you're not competing with everyone, which is the current case. You're just competing within your league mostly. We have a search feature that we've been waiting to implement for a while. I think Sean, who's one of our developers, and he's watching this right now, is working on team achievements. We wanted to get team alliances working because currently the team setup is very minimal. We want to overhaul our front page so that we can fit many candidates, especially with brand new Congress coming up. We want to be able to show something for that presentably. We want to make an easy way to contact all of our users and get them to come back. All kinds of things that we that we have plans for and we haven't gotten around to yet. Also, other things that we're planning on doing site-wise, testing and monitoring tools. If you're familiar with that and with getting that to work in Django, or if that's your line of expertise, that would be great, because we had an outage yesterday and it took a while to figure out what the cause was, and it would be nice if we had things that were just monitoring all the parts, like from the extension to the our asynchronous stuff, our web server, stuff like that. One thing we really need as well, as I mentioned earlier, is a front-end overhaul. We're not like front-end developers really. Sean is actually was a science grad student. I'm a back-end developer at Pinterest, so like we don't really know that much about front-end. But if you know anything about React, that's one thing we're thinking of moving towards. That would be great. We also have a longer-term goal. So I mentioned all the gamification aspects, but in addition to that, and this is something that Brand New Congress was also planning on doing, is having an auto dialer. other candidates can plug into, instead of them providing them signing on to a third party service, and then we provide the extension to connect them in. So that would be a great thing to work on, but it's an extremely long-term goal because we have more immediate gamification changes to make. So yeah, we really would appreciate anyone who's you don't even have to know Django. You can learn it on the go. A lot of us didn't know it in the beginning. Um, and we're open to all kinds of people joining, as long as you have reasonably good coding practices and you want to think about making things that scale and are like intuitive and user friendly, because we do a lot of our design ourselves, and it's, and including designing the game itself, designing the art, although we found designers to help with that lately, but like the front page design, the web design is basically all us. So if you can help with any of that, any part of the stack, we have a Grassroots PB channel. It's on a different Slack than Procode, but I am Laksh Bhasin on the Procode Slack, and you can just message me and I'll add you to the other Slack.